The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
To On Trial, where we debate the merits of your favorite movies. Hope you're ready, Hollywood, because you're on trial.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Danny DeVito presiding. This is On Trial, the podcast where we debate the merits of your favorite movies. I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And over there for the defense of women in their virtue is Jesse Aloysius Esquire Starcher III. How do you do, sir?
Not bad at all. I remember our sessions and getting that sleazy saxophone. It's been a while since I heard the intro. I don't know.
It's been a while. It's been a while since a man has said to you, "Ooh,
on trial,
on trial." Where we debate the merits of your favorite movies. Take off your pants. On trial. Good stuff. We're talking War of the Roses tonight, and the reason why we're talking War of the Roses is because modern movies stink. No, the reason why we're talking War of the Roses is because last year they did kind of a remake, I guess. I mean, it doesn't really retain a lot of the features of the movie, and it is only like minimally related to the book. Starring Benedict Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman, called just simply The Roses. Both War of the War of the Roses and The Roses are based on a book by Warren Adler that talks about resentment, the end of marriage, and how husbands and wives tend to destroy each other. I actually asked ChatGPT, did he base this on his own experiences? And he said, no, he heard this at a dinner party about like this couple that was like fighting over this house, and now it nearly killed him, I guess. So then I asked, it seems like the book, which didn't come out that long before the movie, I think the book came out like maybe 81. I'd have to, I have all my notes in ChatGPT. This will all be in the TikTok eventually. Just fuck the podcast. But I think the book came out in 81. I should have it right here. Yeah. Based on the 1981 novel by Warren Adler, I should say. I asked, were they writing about... It was interesting to me that by 1980, that there was this level of like acknowledging the antipathy that develops between men and women when the man is the provider and the woman is the caretaker, and that's the division of labor. The man says, I will go out and work and be successful and bring home the bacon, as it were, and the woman says, I will take care of the homestead, and this will be our partnership. This is division of labor. And how men came to be preoccupied with their role to the resentment of the woman, in that they didn't pay enough attention to their partner and their family, and the women came to resent their role in it, feeling like I'm just the housemaid. This is not a partnership. We are employees in the service of maintaining a house. And I was like, but that's a recent phenomenon. That came out of like World War II and the Greatest Generation and, the 50s, where, the boys came home and they got jobs and they got women, and those women had babies who would become to be boomers. And like that whole period that gets us to 81 is about 20 years. You mean to tell me in 20 years we were fucking over it? You know what I mean? To the point where Warren Adler has to write this book kind of detailing, psychoanalyzing this fall from what was the accepted norm of time. It lasted 20 years, Jesse.
Yeah, you said over it. I mean, I feel like, yeah, I agree with you. The movie itself feels like an early exploration of it. I don't know that I'm, but that's 1989. So the book obviously comes out way before that. Well, about 8 years before that. So, it is interesting that we are looking in that. I think it's one of those situations. I don't know about over, because I feel like this is still something that persists to today.
Well, I guess when I say over it, like this sort of the collective being of people being over this sort of thing of you go work, I'll stay home, and we'll somehow manage to not hate each other.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like over it. You're supposed to enter into a partnership where you're both taking care of things that need to be taken care of, but you still love each other, you still care about each other, you still pay attention to each other, you still honor each other's wants, needs, and boundaries. And what Adler apparently was saying in the book, as near as I can tell, is they weren't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It was, men became preoccupied with work, and women became like resentful of, being stuck in the home. And so it just becomes like a fight over, we'll get into it when we talk about the movie, but one of the things Kathleen Turner says in War of the Roses, and then Benedict Cumberbatch says in The Roses, I fucking poured my life into this house. I'm not giving it up. It's what defines me. Your job defines you. This house defines me, and I can't part with it. It's the ring of doom.
Yeah.
I refuse to give the thing up. It's precious to me.
Right.
We can get into what the counter to that is, but that's what I mean by it. But let's let me ask you. I saw War of the Roses contemporaneously in 1989. I would be 13 years old, give or take, and 13. Probably saw this in the movies. If I didn't see it in the movies, I definitely saw it on cable. And I remember liking the movie as a kid. I don't remember getting it all the way. Like, it's funny. As I was watching War of the Roses, I kept getting visions of the Money Pit.
Yeah. It's that crossed my mind as well. At one point, I was like, "This feels very Money Pit," because I know that's way more of a comedy. Tom Hanks and oh my goodness, Shelley Long from Cheers. But yeah, I felt the same way. I thought, we're going to have a situation like that.
Well-to-do white people in a very big house, like almost like a mansion, and in the Money Pit, the house is trying to kill them. In War of the Roses, they're killing each other over this house, which is sort of the house is sort of a benign witness. It's like I want no part of you two.
Right.
The house is just kind of there. In the Money Pit, they I'm making a joke like it's trying to kill them, but the whole joke with the Money Pit is they bought this house and like it just needs some, they learn over time just how fucked up this house is, because I guess in that era, the home inspection didn't exist in it yet. By the way, it did, but this movie has to pretend like home inspections don't exist, so they could actually sell you a house that is falling apart as you walk through it. But enough about the Money Pit. What I remember thinking about War of the Roses as a kid is the best part is when they start fucking with each other.
Oh yeah.
And they couldn't get to that part fast enough. That was the whole selling point. It was Romancing the Stone co-stars Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner trying to kill each other in this house. That was like, and Danny DeVito's in this and directed it, by the way.
Who was also wasn't he in Romancing the Stone and the other movie as well? The what is something crap. Romancing the Stone, and yep, I'll have to look it up. But go ahead and continue, or go ahead and look it up.
Now you got me. Romancing the Stone.
That sequel was
hang on,
Jewel of the Nile.
Jewel of the Nile. Damn it, you got there before I did.
Okay.
I don't remember if he's in those or not. I know he's in something else where like, a woman way out of his league is all over him. And then that brings me to fucking Casino and Joe Pesci and Sharon Stone and just short men and tall blondes, Jesse. It'll be the death of us all. Anyway, so I remember thinking that, like, as a kid, like, the best part of this is watching them kill each other in the house.
Yeah.
Watching it now as an adult, having gone through not one but two divorces.
Ooh, boy, does it hit different?
Oh my God! Like, I don't think I understood Kathleen Turner's point back then because I was just a child. I was 13.
Well, yeah, there's no way as a kid we could, unless you're like living that and watching your parents go through it, you might be able to pick up on what's going on.
Yeah, like my parents did not have the world's greatest marriage, but they're still together. They've never been divorced or separated or anything like that. Like, the worst that's ever happened is my mom had a mental breakdown for a little while and had to go away and come back, and she's still living. So anyway, but you I guess your parents got divorced, didn't they?
Yeah, when I was 2.
Yeah. Okay. So
I wouldn't have picked up on anything like that going on at that point. But I mean, my mom has had, I think she's on marriage 4 right now. So I was around, I think she got divorced.
You will never leave Mindy, will you? You're just like, I'm not going to be my mom, man. I'm not going to, this marriage is going to work. If I'll just say yes to everything. It doesn't matter. She tries to leave, bear trap. Like, I'm not divorcing.
I think personally, I watched my mom and my last stepdad get divorced, and it was that was when I was, I think, 20. Maybe a little bit older than that. But you could tell some of the cracks, just kind of like what you're seeing here, happened between these two. And money's a big thing.
Yeah.
And when you start to like get to a divorce and you start dividing assets or stuff like that, suddenly, it can get a little dicey.
Yeah. Suddenly everyone becomes very, I will say this, and then I'll actually ask you about the movie itself and your history with it, if any. Just give me a second. I'm over saying anything bad about Melissa, and what I will say about her is that I said this tonight, and it bears repeating because I actually like the way that I said it, and I think it's worth saying out loud publicly. Had we tried to get divorced at the point of separation, it would have been ugly. There was a lot of anger. We waited long enough for a lot of that anger to subside, for a lot of the venom and hatred to have drained out of it. And by the time we got around to divorcing each other, we just wanted to be done with it.
Right.
What was the path of least resistance? That's the one we're going to take. I am lucky Melissa is a reasonable human being.
That's good.
And especially when you hear about some of these like horrible fucking horror stories that people go through, men and women, the calling of CPS on each other, the demanding unreasonable demands in terms of money and compensation and all that, stuff like that. The amount of, I walked away from a house too, but it was kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen the other for me. People like, in that particular case, Melissa was the one that bought the house. So while I had rights to it, it wasn't like a situation like this where it's just like, or the Roses, where one party spent their life investing in this house to where they feel like at the end of it that they're owed that house. That wasn't really the case with me and Melissa. Like, I shared in paying the mortgage, same as she did, but I did not buy the house. Nor did I really invest a lot of time and energy into it, besides some of the upkeep like you have to do with any house. So that being said, I got lucky that I didn't have like a War of the Roses situation, but many people do. There's a highly relatable series of movies here, the two that we're watching. So like I said, I watched them as a kid. Did you see this 1989, which where we're going to start, War of the Roses, when you were a kid?
I don't think I did. I was trying to remember, or if I did, I do not remember it. Mm-hmm. However, for some reason, I knew the very kind of like last beat that happens, the big beat that happens in the movie. Because as I was watching it, I remember looking at Mindy and going, "Oh, I remember what happens here." As she's laying on the ground and he reaches over and puts his hand on her shoulder. I don't know where I've seen that, unless I've watched the movie and just don't remember it, or I saw it in a clip somewhere. But yeah, I did not. I remember the advertisements for it, but I don't think I had any interest in picking up and watching a movie about Mind you, I was 11, so
Mm.
probably a year or so later, it's out on VHS, and I'm just not interested in it. So this is the first time that I've
Oh,
had.
you
the
weren't
chance-
interested in a movie about divorces and
Yeah,
houses?
surprise,
It's like,
surprise.
leave me alone. I want to watch Batman.
I want to watch. Yeah, I want to watch Die Hard 3 or something. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, no history with the movie. I just remember hearing about it.
All right, so here's the official wiki read. The War of the Roses is a 1989 American satirical black comedy film based on the novel, an 81 novel by Warren Adler. The film follows a wealthy couple with a seemingly perfect marriage that begins to fall apart as material possession becomes the center of an outrageous and bitter divorce battle. Stars Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito, who directed it. The three actors had previously worked together on romancing the story. Oh, you're right, and Jewel of the Nile. If I had just read this, we would have saved ourselves like 5 minutes of arguing about it. As I said, DeVito directed the film, which also had producers James L. Brooks and actor Dan Castellaneta working on the project.
Who says nothing? He says nothing, but he just sits there. It's funny.
Right. The opening title sequence was created by Saul Bass and Elaine McTurra Bass. In both the novel and the film, the married couple family is Rose, and the title is an allusion to the battle between warring houses of York and Lancaster, who were contending for the English throne during the late Middle Ages. In Germany, the film was such a huge success that its German title, Der Rockenkrieg, became synonymous with high conflict divorce and is now used regularly in the media. Its budget was $26 million. It was a massive success for the time at $160 million. It was put out by Fox, that used to be a studio. Okay. So basically, Michael Douglas and a hot, wet, and not bra wearing Kathleen Turner.
Brawless
Kathleen Turner. First couple of seconds, wet nipple. Headlights are showing. Meet in Nantucket, and Kathleen Turner likes the cut of Michael Douglas's jib, so she fucks with him at an auction. He decides to pursue her in a manner that would now get you thrown in jail. And they end up having sex, and this is the basis of all good marriages, hot sex. So they go on to have said marriage, and he becomes a lawyer. She ends up they have kids, 2 kids, and Kathleen Turner is all like, let's give him candy, because if you give him candy, then they won't obsess over it, so they become fat fucks. And
an interesting line that continues into the next movie too, which
really it's like the one thing they held on to besides the house. So then Michael Douglas is a busy business lawyer who doesn't need no woman, and Kathleen Turner's like, any possible way I'm going to get any attention at all, or that you'll appreciate anything that I do for this family? Like, it's a subtle thing, but she gets this like tinfoil star. And Michael Douglas is like not having any kind of empathy at all. Just like, eh. And she's like, oh, well, I just won't have things I like. It's fine. This won't turn into bitterness later. So anyway,
store that away.
So
to use later.
Flash forward, the kids are older and fatter, and they have a dinner party. Kathleen Turner is trying so hard to be a good wife and a good host, and she's kind of a dope. Michael Douglas embarrasses her at the party because she won't tell a story fast enough. It's kind of like doing a podcast with some of my friends. What do you think of this movie? Well, let me answer that question by giving a 55-minute monologue about anything
we'll
that
get there.
Didn't ask. So anyway, then Michael Douglas doing a me cuts her off and gets to it in 5 fucking seconds. And she's, and that kind of begins like the bitterness of it. And so she's like, all right, I'm getting nothing out of this marriage. So I'm going to take all of his money and I'm going to go buy a giant house to invest myself in. So she does. She buys a mansion, and she spends the next 10 years of their life basically decorating and buying and furnishing and making like the perfect house. This becomes an extension of her personality. While he is off being a successful lawyer and dedicating time to moving up and becoming partner and making millions and millions of dollars, she takes that same amount of time and invests it in the house. This is important because when it all falls apart, this is their reason for contending this house. 10 years later, she's fucking over it. She's like, I hate you. Like, I have spent 20 years and I've spent 20 years serving you, and you take me for granted. And Michael Douglas, in his defense, is just oblivious.
Well, yeah,
as I think a lot
no
of men, especially back then, maybe less so now, but probably still, or I wouldn't have couples therapy clients. Just fucking oblivious. Has no idea. I go out and I earn a living. I bring home lots of money. I give you lots of stuff. What did I do wrong?
Right.
Like, you're supposed to pay attention to me and make me feel beautiful and loved.
Okay, princess.
I do that by working. Like, that's his contention.
Right.
So she starts a business. She starts earning her own money. And like all women who start to earn their own money, they start to realize they don't need a man around. So she's like, all right, I'm fucking done with this marriage. And then,
I mean, it slowly simmered into a hatred.
Yeah.
I mean, she has gone past the point where she just doesn't.
I don't want to
care.
get mired in details. We can talk about it in the craft review, but if you're going to describe the simmering, you have to start with the inciting incident, which is something that was very important to her. Is this business? She gets a contract. She gives him that contract, and then in a week he still hasn't looked at it yet, thereby demonstrating the fact he does not take her seriously, or and I think there's a good argument to be made that he is in fact taking her for granted. Your thoughts as I try to continue the plot synopsis?
No, well, okay. I mean, I don't know. I found it really hard.
Oh, you don't wait a second. Are you taking up for Michael Douglas?
So there, I identified with this man a little bit as far as like. Well, I sympathize.
I
Let me.
I cannot figure you out at all because you were always so for the woman in every time that we talk.
Let me take a little bit of that back. I don't really identify because I'm not a lawyer, and I'm definitely not showering my wife with gifts or a house.
You're not currently living in a mansion in Ohio.
Right. But I did sympathize a little bit for him because you mentioned the contract thing. As far as priorities go, he's probably got it far down on the list. Now, granted, yes, maybe he should have had her a little bit higher and made her feel a little bit more, paid attention to. But he's trying again. You mentioned it earlier. The guy is trying to become successful so he can continue to let her do these things, and that's kind of his love language. Is buying things and making sure that she stays happy.
I was to say, gifts and acts of service is the answer you're looking for.
But he doesn't realize that she is looking for something completely different. And of course, like all problems in most marriages, if communication is not there, if their feelings are not well expressed, and it wasn't. I mean, and I know that she probably tried quite a few times to get him on the same page with her.
Right.
But for Kathleen Turner, Barbara, her character went from, needing all these things to becoming successful. And then all of a sudden, just like you said, she finds that she doesn't need a man anymore.
Yep.
And it becomes hatred. And to the point where this man thinks he's dying. He's in the hospital. He thinks he's dying.
By the way, this is after she fucking assaulted him.
Yeah, he was, and granted, that right there.
So her backstory, she's a gymnast and also possesses the strength of She-Hulk. And she fucking locks her legs around him and proceeds to nearly break a rib or some shit.
I love how he's like, afterwards, he's like, can you get this hiatal hernia if somebody squeezes you hard enough? I'm like, I don't think that's how that works. But yeah, he thinks he's dying. And when he comes home, she never came to get him. She never came to get him. So we're at a point where she was like, okay, she made a decision to make him understand that she doesn't care anymore. And of course she doesn't tell him that till he gets home. And he reads the letter to her and she's like, she explains, well, I was kind of realized that I was a little bit happy when I thought you were going to die.
It means I was
okay.
Free.
So we've got to a point at that point in the movie that this marriage is over. Unfortunately, Oliver doesn't realize that until that moment. She had realized this a long time ago.
All right.
So yeah,
in Oliver's defense, this is 1989, and we're not that far removed from Greatest Generation. These are still boomers, right? There's still he doesn't realize that she's unhappy. He just thinks this is how women act. And by the way, there's so many of them like this, it could be absolutely misconstrued as, well, this is just how women are.
Mm-hmm.
The Roses says kind of the same thing. That marriage is hard, women are kind of crazy, men are kind of oblivious. It's a bad match most of the time, unless it's two women, then it's an even worse match. The statistics bear this out. The only people that are happy are gay men. Anyway, just kidding. But men are kind of oblivious. Women are kind of resentful and crazy. This is just normalized at this point. So for him, he's like, I'm a good husband, because being a good husband is being equated with being a good provider.
Right.
And because he's a good provider, that means he's a good husband. So he doesn't understand why she's upset. He's doing all the right things. He doesn't cheat. He doesn't hit her. He doesn't drink. You got to remember, these are the three things that are bad if you're a man.
Right.
Don't cheat on your wife. Don't drink. Don't hit her. Okay, I'm not doing any of the bad things. Bring home money. Make sure she's safe and she's taken care of. I'm doing all of those things. I fucking pay for everything. I'm a little surprised you want to leave me.
Right.
Like how much better do you think this gets?
Right.
And her thing is, okay, none of that makes me feel pretty or appreciated. And I don't need your money anymore. And his counter to that is basically, you only don't need my money because you've had it all this time.
Yeah, right.
You were able to start a business in our kitchen because it didn't matter if you were successful or not. So you could just fucking do it. Good for you that it is successful. But let me tell you how you didn't have to go to a goddamn bank and get a small business loan and go for years in the red till you're in the black. You just fucking started. And you did it on my support. And I kind of just stood out of your way.
All things. I sit there and I think to myself, these are things that would be going through my head if I was in the same situation.
Okay. So we've just kind of summarized that bit of the movie without just summarizing it. So now you understand where Kathleen Turner is at when she decides she wants a divorce. Now you understand where Michael Douglas is at when she tells him, I want a divorce. And they go to mediation, essentially, and basically she's like, I don't want your money, I don't want anything from you, I just want the house. And he was like, you only have this house because I bought it. And that's kind of what starts the whole War of the Roses thing, because at this point the movie leaves the area of, let's watch a marriage in decline. Why do marriages decline? Yes, it can be about money, but money is a stressor. Marriages decline because each one doesn't meet the other one's wants, needs, and constantly violates the other one's boundaries. That's the end of marriage in sum total, if you want to be broad about it. Now starts the second half of the movie, where it's just one act of aggression after another. Which, by the way, this is yet another world where police don't exist, because as soon as Kathleen Turner ran his car over with her fucking monster truck, she'd have been
in front of witnesses.
Yeah, they'd have dragged her the fuck out, and she'd have gone to jail. Pretty white lady that she is. But again, we're in a world of no police,
right?
So you guys can commit. Like I said this to ChatGPT. I was just like, at this point, this turns into just one felony after another.
Right. It legitimately is like, Home Alone, the marriage edition, where they are essentially like trying to kill each other by using the house in some way, or destroying the house.
Right. So I think it starts with, I can't remember if she started breaking his stuff yet, or if he had killed the cat first. And he kills the
He
cat.
didn't even kill the cat.
He ran it over, Jesse.
He was not driving, was he?
He was driving the roadster.
I thought it was the maybe the steering.
The housekeeper went with him, but I don't.
Okay,
think she was...
I thought she was on the left-hand side. And by the way, he's in the vehicle, whatever. But
either way, they backed over a cat, and it's like her favorite cat.
Yes.
Okay, because in the prior scene, she's fucking abusing a dog. So
Poor dog.
Psychologically abusing his dog.
So
anyway, she runs over the cat, or they run over the cat rather. So Kathleen Turner's like reaction to this is she's like breaking Michael Douglas's stuff. His reaction to this is essentially he gets this idea of, I'm gonna run her out of the house. That's kind of what starts it. Like neither one of them is willing to give an inch, and they're starting to get violent with each other. And he's going to be like, at this point, and this is a really dangerous thing that happens in divorces, it stops being about the best way forward, and it just becomes about winning.
Just about who wins, right? And
I want to win the house. So the first thing he does is sabotage her dinner that she's throwing for clients, which is a hilarious scene, by the way. He fucking walks in like the Artful Dodger, and just like an old hobo on a train, and he like spits in the fucking soup and blows his nose on things, and then the best delivered line of this entire movie, now I will go piss on the fish.
To which we do get to see he's got the oven open and
pissing all over it. That's when she runs over the car, and now we're destroying parts of the house, and they're throwing things at each other. At one point, this turned into Looney Tunes. Where they're like setting up fucking trap. Yeah, you said Home Alone. That's kind of accurate, because they're setting up traps for each other in the house.
Yeah.
And she goes, and this is important, so I can get through the end of this plot, so we can just talk. She loosens the bolt to a very ornate chandelier, a very heavy ornate chandelier.
It's about 30 feet, 20 to 30 feet up.
Yeah, and he severs part of a banister, so that if you lean on it, it will snap and you will fall to your death. Which is what happens. He like puts the original
some kind of little thing that they were bidding over at the auction.
Yeah, from the thing that she outbid him for at the auction, he put it there and then like yoinks it away with a string. and they banter for a minute. She leans forward, and because she's a gymnast and a ninja, she manages to jump mid-fall. By the way, the other thing where she went down the stairs and cartwheeled, I fucking laughed my ass off.
It's like it's so funny. They had to make her a gymnast in order to get that scene. Like you don't get that any way else.
Otherwise, you go down and your fucking head is what you do.
Yeah, you're dead.
But she cartwheels down like fucking Wonder Woman.
You're right.
So anyway, so she leaps from the banister to the chandelier, and she manages to get herself right on it. And then he's going to leave her there to die. And then he has a crisis of conscience. And then he tries to save her by putting more weight. like, don't get a ladder or anything, or a rope or something, or, put a net underneath her. No, he, like an idiot, he jumps on the chandelier himself. And now the thing can't support their weight. And Danny DeVito doesn't get there in time. So they crash to their death on this ornate marble floor. Finn. Jesse, what did you think of War of the Roses?
Well, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a comedically dark film.
Yes, sir.
I'll go ahead and start with okay, you've already figured out that I had a hard time trying to discern why Barbara was so upset with Oliver after everything that he had done. Okay. Now
I'm going to do your job for a month. You do mine, then you'll be all right.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, you probably get to hear that a lot. At least both sides, we'll put it that way. Because, but the thing is,
it's hard to discuss this movie with a therapist, huh?
It's not going through my head every other 10 minutes.
Fair.
No, I guarantee you've obviously, as part of your work, you've encountered a lot of this.
I very much saw Barbara's side, and I'm not the world's biggest defender of female behavior. One would call me a bit bitter, but I can't help but not see her side of this. She was kind of emotionally neglected, and I'm a good provider is not a substitute for a intentionally devoted partner.
I think here was probably the hardest part for me to.
Hang on, before you finish.
Yeah.
You pay attention to your wife. You watch TV with her all the time.
Oh.
You're doing the work that's expected. I don't think. I mean, I'm not there, and I'm not asking you to comment on this. But I would imagine if Mindy has any complaints about you, it's probably not you don't pay attention to her.
But I wish you could hear all the jokes that I make that while I'm sitting there watching stuff with her. I get up to go do something for a podcast. I'm like, oh, I'm not paying attention to Mindy. Oh no, Princess Mindy.
She seems like she's been very understanding. You've been doing this for 15 fucking years.
She's
pal.
fine. She's
Yeah.
fine. She's sleeping right now, so
I get it.
Everything is fine. But yeah, I think one of the hardest parts of this movie is to understand that Oliver very much loves. I think it's just he didn't realize, just like you said, he's oblivious.
Yeah.
He is oblivious, but he still very much loves Barbara. And one of the hardest pills to swallow when you get into this is the understanding that Barbara no longer loves him.
Right.
And I think that was probably the hardest part for me to deal with when I was watching this, because you want, just like anybody, any couple that you get to kind of get together, and then, they run into some trouble. You don't want them to fall apart. That's probably like half an hour, maybe 45 minutes of this movie is watching them get together. They build a family, and, not to mention, we got a couple kids here that these two obviously have forgotten about.
Okay. You did not get a chance to watch Jay Kelly.
No, I did not.
Or review Jay Kelly with me. If you go back and listen to the review I did with Robert, the thing I said about Jay Kelly was, I did not make professional sacrifices, or I did not make familial sacrifices so that I could move ahead in my career. I sacrificed possible advancement, or, a way to move ahead and make more money, because it would have taken me too far away from my family, and I wasn't willing to do that.
Right.
I was willing to be a middle-class working schlub, because I felt like my presence mattered more to my family than my wallet. Now, as an aside, it didn't matter, but mattered to my children.
Yeah.
Did not seem to matter to Melissa as such.
Right.
However, that's the difference. Is, again, Kathleen Turner takes the money and the house and everything else because it's the only thing he's giving her. He's not giving her the time. He's not giving her the intentionality. And he doesn't think he should have to, because all men are ever needed for is provision. That's kind of what this movie talks about. And we're still talking about it to this day. I don't know if you listen to a lot of young women on TikTok, but they were kind of refer to men as wallets.
Wow.
Which is why men aren't dating as much anymore. That's why I think this topic is probably one of the more relevant things we've discussed on this network as of late, because it really does go to a crisis that we're having right now in relationships, because we still haven't gotten fully away from the idea of men being viewed as wallets. And you can't have it both ways. You can't say, all we want from you is financial support, and then complain when that's all we're going to give you. Because we're not going to also be your therapist and your lover and this and that and the other thing. So I understood Kathleen Turner's point. I understood Barbara's point with him. It's I can't remember which podcast I said this on, but it was like, something that we saw recently, we reviewed recently, where I was like, funny thing about women when they marry men, they'd like those men to be around.
Right. Right. And I can tell you that being a lawyer, which I'm not, but I've known a few, and that's
long hours.
that's a very dedicated profession. You have to give a lot of your life to that profession. And granted, the rewards sometimes are very lucrative. So, he chose the profession, and there is probably no excuse for his ignorance, but as we go forward in the film and he realizes that she's no longer in love with him, and you mentioned this earlier again, he's hurt. He wants to win now that he's been hurt this bad, he wants to hurt her back. And that's where the whole war comes in, where they want this they want this house. It's just taken to these extreme levels of where they're almost trying to murder each other. And it's sad. You want to see them succeed, but they're not going to. That's not this movie. It's darkly comedic. It is a war that's going to happen, and it will eventually lead to both of their downfalls, both of them. And again, it's that final moment that really nails it on the head, that this relationship, no matter how much Oliver wanted it to succeed, while he's lying there on his, there's many times where one of them about die and one of them about kills the other one. Mostly Oliver's like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to hurt you. I'm so sorry. He about kills her. And then that's what, they end up on the chandelier. And then when they crash to the ground and he's lying there in a heap, he brings his arm over as he's dying and puts his arm on her shoulder, and she kind of opens her eyes and then grabs his hand, and then you think that it's going to just rest there and they're going to finally have this reconciliation. She takes it and throws it off. She's still so mad. She's still so pissed. And
in her defense, she might have lived through that had he not added another 200 pounds of weight.
I agree. I will agree.
I want to talk about I think this movie is mostly perfect. I think it's well acted. I think the house is beautiful. It's a really great setting. Even Danny DeVito's office. That's like an odd color for an office.
Which, side note, he did have a Nintendo Entertainment System under a TV. I noticed that. I don't know how.
What a wonderful eye for detail you have.
He's got an NES. I'm like, oh, nice. Danny
DeVito, great actor. I think he did a good job directing this. I have no issue with the way he directed it.
Yeah. This is almost like, so this is 89. I mean, height of Danny DeVito is probably like right around here. Now, I'm not an Always Sunny in Philadelphia guy, so there's probably a lot of argument to be had there. But I mean, this is like his popularity is almost near its peak.
I had one criticism of the film.
Okay.
Because I think it does a really great job of showing you how and why she resents Michael Douglas. I think it shows a really good job of Michael Douglas being oblivious and then being obsessed with winning. And I think the movie does everything it's supposed to do except this one area. I want to read this to you really quick because I threw this into my notes in ChatGPT. I said, you definitely get the Michael Douglas typical focus on work, neglect your family thing, but you don't see him pacify her the way you'd need to for you to buy that she needs friction. And let me tell you what I'm referring to specifically. She is hurt about the contract thing. I'm remembering this correctly, that when I saw this, she does the bit where she asks him about the contract. He's like, I haven't read it yet. So she feels blown off. This is kind of like the straw that breaks the camel's back moment. It's very subtle. But it's like, the subtext is, this thing was really important to me. If this is important to me and I'm important to you, by logical transition, it should be important to you. And if it's not, then I'm not important to you. And then I don't know what we're doing anymore. Why am I here? And so, I don't know if you've ever experienced this in your life, but it's like, you shouldn't have to tell somebody how to treat you with intentionality and respect. And when you do, it doesn't really count anymore. It's like, if I were to say to you, Jesse, I need you to show up to the podcast on time and be prepared to talk about it at length. And then you do. It's like, okay, well, it's because I had to tell you, instead of you just knowing to do the right thing by me, because like that's respect. Not the best example, but I'm trying to get through this. She shouldn't have had to tell him after a week. Did you read the contract? You should have done it out of respect for her. And that's the whole point she's trying to make, is you don't respect me. That's where she gets you take me for granted from. So now it's on the table upstairs, and he's like, after the fact, like he's already blown through the stop sign. He's in the intersection. And he's like, I'll just read it now. It's fine. I'm reading it now. See? Look at me. Look, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing you asked me to do. Look, see? I'm doing it. Don't you love me? Don't I look like myself? And she's like, it doesn't really count if you're doing it to like make up with me, as opposed to having done it when I asked you to do it out of respect. So she does this thing where she like fucking hits him with the contract.
With the contract, yeah, right.
Yeah, and he like chases her on the bed, and she does something else, and that's when she like she like feigns like they're gonna have sex, and then she like leg locks him and fucking squeezes his face.
Yeah, he's like, oh no.
And then he's like, oh, you dirty minx. And then she gives him the butt and turns off the light.
Oh, yeah.
And we all know what happens when the girl gives you the butt. It's not what you think. I mean, it's over. We're done here. And I said to ChatGPT, I'm going to give you that friction line again, that like, it always reminds me of the architect scene in The Matrix about, when we built humanity a frictionless life, they rejected it almost immediately. It failed. So we had to build a life that kind of sucks for anyone to believe the Matrix is real. Like that's a real thing.
Right.
Barbara needs friction in her life. One of the things she's not getting from Michael Douglas is that friction. It's, she's pacified. It's go, do, whatever, distract yourself. I have busy business lawyer work shit to do. So you go entertain yourself somewhere else and leave me alone. And she needs him to be like, nope, I need some friction here. I need to feel alive. I need you to be part of that. So her way of doing it is bratting. Except that here's the problem. That was all inference from me. That's not really shown in the movie.
Right.
That's a big problem I have with this is, and I'll go back to reading my notes in a second, but they show you her spoiling the kids. They show you him emotionally neglecting her. They don't show him pacifying her. So then for her to make a big deal about it and it be one of the things that causes them to go to war with each other, I think is a big part. I think it's a big hole in this script.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with you there because that might be why I felt like I was so much on the side of Oliver here. Because if I would have understood, and I remember looking at my wife and we just looked at each other like there's no way we could be this mean to each other. And usually in a film, you have a better understanding as to why
Hang on.
somebody go ahead.
It's a different scene that I'm referencing, but go ahead. I'll tell you when I'm done.
Well, I was just going to say it wasn't obvious to me. I needed something a little more obvious to be like, okay, I can understand where both of these characters are coming from. And it might just be because I'm dense. I don't know. You picked up one on a lot better than I did. But I would have wanted something a little bit more so I could understand that where he went wrong and why she felt such hatred and such resentment. I get it in some facets, but in others, I just don't understand how she got to that extreme.
Okay. So the scene that I'm referencing, the scene where I started to think about friction, was when she told him she cooked his dog. When she serves him pate, like never trust pate, Jesse. Never.
Which, by the way,
it's always something that it isn't. It's either dog food or dogs.
Yeah, this was a moment where I was like, are they actually going to kill the dog? And they did not kill the dog. The dog was fine.
Right.
She's obviously just messing with him, but
yeah, she kind of calls him to the table one last time to like, hey, can we pull the fucking plane out of the nosedive? and she serves him pate on crackers, and that's kind of like what her whole business got started with. Was like she had cooked pate from like this liver, and it was really good, and that's why she became a caterer. Some shit. So this is like a Chekhov's gun situation. So he's eating the pate on crackers, and she's like, one last thing of like, will you please just give me the house? Like, I don't want anything from you, just the house. Like, you get to walk away and clean and rebuild your life. You have that kind of money. And he's like, no, I built a fucking life here, same as you. And at that point, she says something about the dog, and then he looks at her like, my dog? And she's like, woof. Like, not since Michelle Pfeiffer's meow, which will occur after. Have I heard a woman make an animal sound? You know, that's just so intense.
Oh yeah.
God.
And then I think at that point she takes off running because he is incensed.
Yeah, he's about to beat the shit out of her is what he's about to do, seeing as he thinks he ate his dog. So
that was an angle that would show up later in WWF television, if I remember correctly.
Yes, pepper steak. That shit made my son cry when I showed it to him.
No.
All right. So what I wrote was, so I'm much of the part where she lies about cooking the dog, and it becomes readily apparent how much Barbara needs friction in her marriage. And Fancy said, yeah, that moment is huge, and you're reading it exactly right. The War of the Roses, the fake I cooked the dog story isn't about cruelty. It's about provocation, this oxygen. Barbara doesn't want a reaction. She needs friction to feel alive inside the marriage. That's the tell. At that point, the conflict has stopped being about grievances and crossed into stimulus seeking. Peace feels like abandonment. Stability feels like erasure. Harmony feels like death. So she manufactures crisis. What makes it chilling and familiar to people who've lived this, that's not random chaos. It's targeted. She chooses something she knows well. I'll tell you this, like, and I don't want to spend this whole podcast talking about like my sad life, but I will say, like, there were definitely things said to me that were meant, and frankly, that I ended up saying back, because I will say this. When we went down hard, and we went after each other just as hard. Now, it never got physical, and it did not necessarily become physically damaging. Like, we didn't damage parts of the house or anything, or do anything physical to each other, like to possessions. But the shit, and you know this because I've talked to you about it personally, the shit Melissa and I said to each other may or may not have been true, but it was definitely meant to harm the other person.
Right.
You know? That's why I identify so much with this, because I kind of lived it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, that's kind of what makes this movie a bit brilliant, is we all in relationships can reach that point, and the other one drives us so insane, and once they hurt us, it's like gloves are off. I'm coming right back at you. How
many times I've said to a couple in therapy, when did you start hating each other?
Yeah.
And they have to go, and they kind of take a double take, because I'm very direct. What?
They start looking at their book, my diary, my calendar,
and they're like surprised that I'm like that blunt about it. But I'm just like, sorry, everything you're giving me says I hate you. Like you know, like what can we do? Everyone comes in couples therapy and they say the same thing, like, oh, we don't know how to communicate. No, you have the emotional intelligence of a toddler is the real problem here. But sure, but it's. I usually end up saying the same things when it's this level of antipathy between people. Stop treating your partner like they're your opponent, and this will get a lot easier.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a team effort here.
Yeah, one thing I have definitely self-corrected, because I love Erica to death, but you know, she also drives me crazy because, you know, women can't live with them, can't hit them with a fucking shovel. I always treat her with kindness. I don't. If I'm that angry, I just go silent now, because nothing good will come out of my mouth. And
it's tough.
I have decided that if I'm going to be a partner of someone, I shouldn't go out of my way to hurt them.
Right.
So if all I can feel is anger to hurt, anger to injure, then don't talk.
Yeah, I understand the shutdown sequence. I've been there. But a lot of times also, you know, you just got to get it past those first few minutes or maybe sometime hours. And then
oxygen is your best friend.
Yeah. And then if you can open up and maybe talk about what's going on, provided your partner is willing to talk as well, because sometimes they're on their schedule might not line up with yours.
Yeah, people process. I say this all the time in therapy. People process at different speeds. Some people can and want a resolution within the time frame of the actual event, and some need a day, 2 days, 3 days, sometimes like a week to process things. It's like that slow.
Yeah.
And like you can't as I learned with my computer tonight, you can't get if it's not done processing, it's not going to function. So I love War of the Roses.
No matter how much you turn them on or turn them off.
Just like a woman.
That was a softball. I laid it right up there. You
were just like. I'm gonna give you the last word here. I don't need to get into any more of the friction stuff. I think this movie is great. I think it's very well directed by Danny DeVito. I think he's great in this as kind of like the narrator. The framing device for this was, I had quit smoking. This fight was so bad, I went back to smoking. Then they show you the scene. It's not quite the Kobayashi Maru, but like you get the impression when he's telling you about this. It's what this couple did to each other that was so harrowing. It made him start smoking again. No, he had to stop himself from banging Kathleen Turner's fucking gymnast ass. That's what made him start smoking again.
Oh yeah, he
She
needed a
comes in there
cigarette
and she's
just
like,
after the interaction.
I convinced my husband to leave. And he's like, woo.
Yeah.
You are 8 feet tall and I am 3 feet.
Yep.
And I'm gonna have to say no because I'm the only one in this movie with morals.
which is not exactly true, considering he's getting a foot job at the table.
Oh, fuck you.
It's a glass table. You can see everything.
He wasn't getting a foot job from Kathleen Turner, you fucking square. Don't tell me he was immoral. Who hasn't had a foot job at a fancy dinner?
All right, then.
Well, foot job at a fancy dinner is our sign to move on, I think.
Yes.
All right, so So Roses is a 2025 satirical black comedy film directed by Jay Roach. If you don't know who Jay Roach is, well, you should. Jay Roach directed all three of the Austin Powers movies.
I know this dude.
Yeah.
He's son of Papa Roach.
He directed Meet the Parents.
Tip your waitresses.
Yes, sir. Meet the Fockers. The worst movie I've ever seen, Dinner for Schmucks. He directed The Campaign with Will Ferrell, Trumbo, Bombshell, which I haven't seen Bombshell. You really should. And now The Roses. And then he's produced a whole bunch of movies. So, very well known in the field of film. From a screenplay by Tony McNamara, based on the 1981 novel The War of the Roses by Warren Adler, is a reimagining of the 1989 film The War of the Roses. The film stars Benedict Cumberbatch. It is hard for me to not see him as Doctor Strange, by the way. Olivia Colman as a successful couple whose seemingly picture-perfect marriage begins falling apart. It stars Andy Samberg, Allison Janney. It does not star Allison Janney. That's bullshit.
He is like, 15 minutes? Yeah.
Belinda Bromolo, Sunita Mani, Ncuti Gatwa, Jamie Demetriou, Zoe Chow, and Kate McKinnon playing the same character she plays in every movie, including Barbie. We are in supporting roles. The Roses was released in the United States by Searchlight Pictures, which is the Fox, which is Disney's Tiffany independent distributor. On August 29th, 2025, it received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $52 million worldwide off of a $30 million budget. So, this came out, and there was other stuff that we needed to do at the time, so we never got to this. But I had said at some point I'm going to go back and rewatch it. I'm going to go back and watch it probably when it goes to streaming. That's how it ended up on the schedule. The whole reason we're doing this tonight is honestly because I needed a reason to watch The Roses, and I wasn't going to get to it at when it did come out. So I was like, I'll just save it for when it's streaming, and then I'll do it as an on trial versus the original, and I'll do it with Jesse because everybody else will annoy me. So here we are. Had you heard about this? Did you know anything about it?
No,
I feel like I put this on the schedule. Did you have any idea what I was doing?
No, I figured it was a modern, take on the War of the Roses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started seeing some advertisements for it, I think, within the last month or so. But yeah, I didn't. I had no idea what we were getting into.
Did you watch both of these with Mindy?
Yeah. We watched the War of the Roses on Friday, and then Saturday morning with our breakfast, we watched the Roses.
Which one she liked better?
The first one. She liked the 1989 film better, and I asked her why,
Mm-hmm.
and she said it all lands on physical comedy. Because you get a lot. Plus, she
Your
said,
wife is amazingly simple.
the war.
Your wife is fucking Peter Griffin, is what she is. Someone better throw a fucking pie real soon in this movie, or I'm fucking out. Starcher.
I think it was the length too, because we get some of that here, but
Yeah.
it seems like the war occurs a lot earlier in the 1989 film than this one. This one, it seems like
this
it's near
takes
the
forever
back
to
end.
get going.
Right.
So this one flips the gender roles. This one, the setup is they meet, they fall in love, they fuck in a refrigerator like we all do, and then they move to America. And he's an architect, and she owns a restaurant, and she's kind of a dingbat, and he is trying very desperately to make buildings into art. It goes poorly. The building that he designs falls apart and destroys important stuff. So now he's shamed, and she's like, okay, well, I liked being a mom. I liked being a doting mom. I liked fattening up my kids so the witch can make them into stew. Same as in the first movie. It's a weird thing that they kept.
It is.
But I have a restaurant, so I still work, and so maybe you stay home with the kids, and I will go work. And she becomes a successful owner of a chain of restaurants, and starts doing like private parties, and she's like basically a celebrity chef. He starts pouring all of his energy into his kids, making them into super athletes.
Yeah.
Which she does not love, because she's like, but I wanted to be a mom. I'm doing this because what are we supposed to be, homeless? But I still want to be a mom. And he's like, and I still want to be an architect, but I guess we can't have the things we want in life now, can we? So like, unlike the first movie, this one very early on sees where they are both struggling, with the choices or the lack of choices bestowed upon them. Where the film starts to resemble the book and the previous movie is they are really having a hard time. And it's Olivia Colman who's basically like, well, he like designs a house. And she's like, okay, I'm going to buy a plot of land cliffside that looks into the Pacific Ocean. It's going to be magnificent. You build a house there. I will give you money for this. And he does a Kathleen Turner. He, like I said, he designs his house from base to ceiling. He does all these fancy things with it. And then something the other movie doesn't do, it doesn't really tell you the cost of what she's doing. There's no scene of her like buying fine Italian marble and Michael Douglas going, "Oy vey." That's what I mean by it was missing the pacification stuff. This movie does it in spades. And it not only does it in spades, like the Irish moss bit, where it's like, what the fuck do you need Irish moss for? It's a house.
Right.
What are we doing, a Rembrandt? And he's like, well, because Irish moss does this better than that, and I like it, and aren't I fancy?
He brings over that table, that like 15th century table that has a
with
dagger
the
in it.
Daggers embedded in it.
Like, geez.
And right prior to the Irish moss bit, she gets a call from like, I guess her manager, who's just like, you need to like rein him in. You're gonna run out of fucking money before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Which she then says to him. So again, I don't love this movie more than the other one, but there are things it does better. That's one of them. So there's the fucking table with the daggers. There's the Irish moss. There's something else that he does. He buys her Julia Child's oven, which becomes a bone of contention.
Oh, yeah.
There's something else that he does where she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, no, I want it. And she's like, fine, you big baby. It's like, here, whatever. Shut up already. And then she's like, I don't want to be here. So she fucking fucks off and opens more restaurants. And then it's finally done. He has made an extension of himself in this house, as Kathleen Turner did. And she's a super duper fucking famous chef. But his kids get scholarships to like some sort of like sports school in Miami. and she really resents him for usurping her ability to mother, and he resents her for being the success that he always wanted to be, and that he cost himself. Like it's one of those where it's like you look at your partner and you're like, you're so much more successful than I am naturally, and I did everything I could, and I very much was my own worst enemy. And as illogical as it is, I still resent you for it.
Right.
That's their dynamic at that point. So they have this dinner. She gets drunk, and Olivia Colman's character in this is they're both British, and they're kind of caustic with each other, like almost the way friends are, where you just like rip each other, like, hey, fuckface, like the way Jason and I were on the Bamboozled show, where you would think we hated each other, and yeah, kind of, but still, like we're mostly friends. They have that kind of relationship with each other. In the cold open, they go to they're with a couples therapist, and they're like, what do you like about each other? And it's just like, you don't smell like fish or some shit. It's like awful things they say to each other. So the therapist does something very unprofessional and says, there's no helping you two, get out. But that playful causticness turns into venom when she gets drunk, and they end up embarrassing each other, and she like throws cake at people, the whole thing. Yeah. So then there's in the next bit, because it's just the two of them alone in the house now. Benedict Cumberbatch goes running, sees a whale, ends up calling a bunch of people over. They get the whale back out to sea. They save a whale. They literally save a whale because it's the 2026 in California. And he goes back to the house, and he was like, "This is like the greatest moment of my life, and it made me realize I don't want to be with you."
Yeah, I mean, he walks in, and she's like, "How was your run?" And he doesn't say a word.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets a phone call where somebody tells her, "Hey, did you hear your husband saved a whale?" And she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" Yeah. He's like, "Well, I didn't want you to ruin it for me."
Right. And then
that is a rough thing to say.
Yeah. Well, I've also, believe me, if there was ever a point in this movie that because I don't really love Benedict Cumberbatch's character in this, for a variety of reasons, but if there's one thing that he says in this entire movie, I am 100% there with. There are certain things I don't want certain people in my life participating in or even knowing about, because I know they'll ruin it. And I'm tired of having things that I love taken and ruined for me.
Yeah. So that right there is the point of kind of like the point of no return for this movie. Yeah. Almost, where
it's not that line. The line that he says is, I don't know why I realize I would be better off without you.
Right. It's very much, again, we're mirroring what is kind of like I assume probably in the book, but also what happens in the 89 film where, it's Barbara that says, I realized I was fine with you being dead. And here it's very similar. The roles are kind of switched, or genders, I guess you'd say, because, this is Theo is Barb's analog, and Ivy is very much Oliver's analog here. But anyway, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now they're going to get a divorce, and it's the same fucking thing. I put my life and life's blood into this house. This is an extension of me. I cannot bear to part with it. And she's like, great, I paid for it. So, again, not to talk about my own life, but really quick, when Melissa paid for the house, but I lived in the house and we paid for the mortgage, in a joint checking account, by Florida law, I was entitled to a little less than 50% of the proceeds from selling the house. And I was told pretty much point blank, if we didn't agree on who was getting the house, a judge would have ordered us to sell it. And I bring that up only because in both movies, that never gets said.
Yeah.
Now, maybe that's just a Florida law thing. I don't know. I don't know how other fucking places handle it. But it did make me wonder, if you can't figure this out, doesn't a judge decide for you what's going to happen? Either he awards it to one. They make arguments about it, I guess. In a case where they don't force you to sell it and a judge can award it to one party or the other, I would have assumed the lawyers would have made arguments to a judge.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been decided who gets what, who gets the property.
Right.
The movie doesn't really get into any of that. It basically, everyone tells them to stop fighting with each other and stop arguing over the stupid fucking house. And again, this is the part everyone's been waiting for. This is where they start fucking with each other. And there was some genuinely, like, the War of the Roses stuff. Like, I laughed at Michael Douglas's line delivery of, and now I will piss on the fish. but I didn't necessarily laugh at anything else they were doing to each other. This shit was funny to me. Like her throwing the crabs in the bathtub, I laughed hard at.
Yeah.
Um,
Him spiking her hors d'oeuvres or whatever, the mushrooms, and all of a sudden all the customers start taking their clothes off. That was pretty funny.
That was funny. I can't remember what else they do to each other. There's a bunch of different shit they do to each other. But yeah, they come pretty close.
It comes. I mean, as we get towards the end, she grabs a gun. And
wait! You gotta talk about I'm sure your favorite part. She fucking makes a deep fake video.
Oh, the AI video where he's telling everybody he did it on purpose. Oh man.
Yeah, that he built that he sabotaged the building and that he smokes crack.
Very much a modern take. I mean, you know, we had therapy in this one. We didn't have that in the 1989 version at all. You know, we had, you know, the advancements of technology, the kids calling them from the school and saying, "Hey, we heard you're getting a divorce." And they're like, "Well, how the hell did you hear about that?" And they're like, "Well, good for you guys." And then we got to go. See you later.
Right. Thank God you're releasing each other from your death spiral. Like,
can we just real quick? And you might, I mean, you could probably speak about something that you may have talked to some people that have encountered stuff like this, but in both scenarios here, in both books, both movies, it really goes to another level when the kids leave the house.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is when it's just, they start to realize all they have is each other, and it's just, it's not good. It's not good.
Well, the end, they basically nearly kill each other. They start destroying parts of the house, and then Olivia Colman literally almost kills him. The gun. And then he kind of confronts her, and they decide that this has gone too far, and that they still actually have, unlike the first movie, where Kathleen Turner is ready to fucking kill Michael Douglas to the end.
Oh yeah.
And Michael Douglas at the end is just like, well, we've killed each other, but you know, maybe we can go to heaven together. And she's like, no, penises. No, absolutely not. This one, they make amends.
Yeah.
But by that point, it's too late. He has broken the oven. Gas is releasing in the house. And the final word of the movie is something like HAL 9000 or whatever the fuck AI he's got in the house. Start the fire.
Turn the fireplace on.
Yeah, and so of course it's implied the house will now ignite and they will die in a fire.
It's a big white flash, and then we cut to credits.
And that's it. And then we're done.
I like the ending here. I think it's there's redeemable things about this film, but I still think the 89 film holds up. But here you get this modern take. And I love the fact that these two are so acidic with each other. They just keep taking it to the next level. But then all of a sudden, just like in The Therapist, they come out of there and they're actually jovial to each other. They're very, like laughing about the fact that you were supposed to say things that you liked about me, and you just railed off 8 things you hated. You completely ignored the assignment, but they still found it in each other to laugh at how much the other one hates the other one, and they still have that bond. And then finally at the end they come together, and the one thing that kills them is the house. It's the house.
Yeah. So I like the first one more than I like the second one. The second one I had a rough time getting into. Like a lot of the, and part of it is I don't really like the way movies present modern life, because I don't think I like modern life. Like I have found myself being nostalgic for the 80s.
Oh, okay.
And wanting to go back to a simpler time. I've become that guy.
Okay.
So the way people speak to each other now, just in normal everyday life, not necessarily fire hosing therapy speak at each other, but just some of the ways people talk to each other. Like the dinner party seems funny to me. And, and so everyone thinks that they're being, like, again, caustically humorous with each other. And so the other couples are doing it just like I hate the way you fuck me up the ass and choke me. Am I doing it? Am I doing it? Is that right?
And I love how Kate McKinnon's character is sitting there going like, I'm an empath and I feel very uncomfortable at this table. That would have been me.
And it's like, well, that stuff very much rings true. And I think how people do talk today, I don't love it.
Right.
It annoys me.
All right.
A couple of things I think this movie does better than the first one, which again is a sign of modern writing. This movie, the first movie makes you use inference to figure out what's psychologically going on with these two people. And if you don't really have that ability, it just feels, like if you can't read into it or you don't have any real knowledge of psychology, it just looks like Kathleen Turner, resents Michael Douglas for not paying any attention to her, and they don't take it any further than that. And that's what's leading to the divorce and then subsequently the fight over the house.
Right.
This one names the problems as they happen. This one's doing like a John Madden play-by-play of psychologically. It's like the movie has to stop every 10 to 15 minutes to tell you Theo, is that Benedict Cumberbatch's name? Theo is having kind of a nervous breakdown, and he actually like says out loud, I almost turned it off at this point, but I'm like, I got to get through this. And I'm glad I did because I ended up liking it. But when he's running on the beach and he's just like, oh, don't do that toxic male thing. And I'm just like, come on.
Oh,
like,
you don't want somebody to be conscious of their problems
and again,
try to work through them
and
on screen.
But that's the point. Is he has to say it to the camera. We can't infer it based on behavior or context. It has to be shouted at the audience.
Do you think audiences have gotten smarter?
I mean, if the amount of people using fucking therapy speak in everyday parlance is any indication, yeah, kinda.
Okay.
I have to hear one more person say, just go to therapy, including my own daughter. Just go to her reaction to weird science. Just go to therapy. They didn't have therapy in the 80s, Lily. They had Barbie dolls and fucking computers. That's what they had.
That's right.
Anyway, it gets better, but it does do that. As the movie progresses, they do take a time out to go, here's the psychological issue currently being dealt with in this particular scene. And then some more plot happens, and then we stop again to do it again. It gets us annoying as the movie goes on, and it becomes a little bit more natural in the dialogue. But it definitely took a little getting used to. Despite myself, I actually liked Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon in this. I thought they were a really funny modern couple.
I agree.
And I think having friends at first I wasn't sure if I was going to like that element to this, but I think having a comparison and contrast with Friends gives the Roses more depth than War of the Roses did.
Yeah,
because they kind of feel a little bit isolated on another planet from everybody else. Where here, Andy Samberg's line about Kate McKinnon is, I don't know what the fuck she's going to say next or do, but I still love her. And, and Kate McKinnon later on says, look, do I want to do peyote and fuck other dudes? Sure, who doesn't? But, do I want Andy Samberg to drive me to the hospital afterwards? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It is a tacit acknowledgement that marriage is hard, but when you find your person, you just plow through the hardness because it's worth having that one person who is, and I hate this phrase, but is your ride or die.
Yeah, that's your best friend.
The person is, your best friend, the person that's going to be there for you when everybody else has walked away or died.
Right.
That's why I'm with the person I'm with now, because I truly believe she will never leave my side, no matter how much time I want her to. So, and I would certainly, and I said to her last night, actually, I was just like, I like taking care of you, even though it doesn't seem like it at times. But hey, I'm a bit moody. But that's but I like the fact that the movie took time to deal with that.
Yeah.
That both Theo and I think I'm thinking about after the dinner party where they're yelling at each other and they're basically yelling their psychological profiles at one another, which the other movie does not do. The other movie either doesn't deal with it at all or kind of leaves it for inference depending on your point of view.
Right.
This one doesn't trust the audience with it. This one, Olivia Colman has to yell, "You're a needy baby" at him and all this other stuff, and then he has to yell back at her so that we all understand what these characters are as if it wasn't patently obvious.
Yeah. I think what makes the Roses compared to the War of the Roses, as far as our main couple here, Olivia and Barbara, or excuse me, Oliver and Barbara, and Ivy and Theo. So Ivy and Theo are easier to root for because, number one, as mean as they are to each other, they seem to recognize what they've done and that they've hurt the other person and have attempted to say that they are sorry. Although you can only take it so far sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, when you start to realize that the person you were with, maybe you no longer want to be with them, and you tell them that, it's usually not going to go over so well. And maybe he should have took a beating before he said those things, because by the end of this movie, they realize that they have, they have the capacity to still love each other. So as far as the couples go, you're rooting more for Theo and Ivy here, which is, I feel like that's probably one advantage that this one has over makes the 1989 one much more dark, in my opinion. But man, are they mean to each other still in this one? Just like you said, she's pulling a gun, he's destroying her stove. But it takes us a while to get to the war.
Hang on. We got to acknowledge one scene. So she has an allergic analogy to raspberries.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And like one of the first scenes of the movies, she eats raspberries because she wants to, but she knows she's going to have an allergic reaction where her throat's going to close. So he just like stands over her with the EpiPen.
With the EpiPen.
And gets it. And then he fucking, at the end of the movie, and it really makes you not like the guy. Because again, all things being equal, Melissa was never under threat of death.
Right. You did not put in motion her possible demise.
Right. I like, you're giving me the house, or this fucking guillotine will drop on you. Is what will happen. Yeah, he gives her like cake, and it's got like laced with raspberries, and doesn't tell her about it. So she eats the cake, and she starts to fucking go into anaphylactic shock. And then he's like, "Sign the fucking papers, or I'm not gonna save you." And then she signs it, and he gets her, and he looks at the paper. She signs Zendaya.
Oh yeah, good stuff. Yeah, and he's like, "I would never let you die." And now you don't know. You don't know how far these people will go.
Yeah, bullshit.
No wonder she went and got the gun. This had been taken to an absurd level for this couple. But again, very similar to the 1989 film, where they are trying to destroy each other while trying to also destroy the house. Things that they love, I guess you'd say. Which, it's sad, and then it's them making up and the house actually catching fire and most likely exploding and killing them. So they die as well.
I think The Roses is a worthy watch. I don't think it's superior to the first film, but it's not. This is not a hand that rocks the cradle situation. Where I just listened back to that on trial. Robert and I could not. I mean, I said it was the fourth worst movie I've seen in 2025. This isn't that bad. I think Jay Roach gets what the War of the Roses is, and just wanted to do a modern interpretation of it. I actually think The Roses is successful for a modern audience in a way that the War of the Roses might not be. But I think side by side, judging them objectively, I think The War of the Roses is a slightly better made movie than The Roses. I'm going to let you have the final word here, and then we'll be done unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't do much but echo what you just said. The 1989 film, I think, is superior, but there are a lot of things that happen in The Roses that make it different enough to actually be something that you could follow. I had no qualms watching the 89 film and then following it up with The Roses, because the films really do feel different enough.
Yeah.
Granted, there are similarities. There's the table scene where they try to come together and they try to kill each other. Obviously the house is getting destroyed. Their friends are in, they're friends. I mean, really, Gavin, the lawyer that Danny DeVito played, was really the only friend that was kind of involved. But there's parallels, is what I'm trying to say. But the films are different enough and end different enough that I think there's a lot to be said. So I'd say watch the 89 film and follow it up with this one, and you're not going to regret it.
All right. A bit of a late start tonight because I was having technology problems, but I'm glad we got this done. I did not want to give up on it. And turned out I think we had a really good conversation. Tomorrow, myself and Robert will be talking 28 years later, the Bone Temple.
Oh,
Boy,
going
there's
to
a
the
franchise I
Bone
wish
Temple.
would fucking go
Mm.
away already. And then on Tuesday, Alexis is hosting a podcast review of Welcome to Derry, the It TV show. I have no idea who's going to be on it.
I'll be there.
Oh, super. Thursday, myself and Shay Tate will be reviewing another triple feature, this time focusing on some more musicals. We're kind of working our way through a bunch of them. We're doing Rock of Ages, Tommy, and Jesus Christ Superstar. And then Friday, I was talked into doing a Whiskey Rebellion discussing kink. I have no idea how we're going to do this. I'm sure it'll be terrible.
Is this Shay?
No,
not Shay, but
no, with Mick,
Mick.
Kathleen, and possibly Erica. Who knows? Maybe Jonas will join us. It'll be great. Yeah, let's hit the 12-year-old on the kink talk. Don't get kinky with the ghost.
Criminy.
Don't get kinky with the ghost, Jesse. That's what he once told me.
All right, then.
He was referring to Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Dan Aykroyd.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, no, he was actually referring to the Frosted Empire, whatever the hell it's called, the Frozen Empire, where the girl gets kinky with the ghost.
I've not seen that.
Ah, okay.
Now I gotta watch it.
Yeah, that's what you're into, huh? Spectral kink.
Oh boy.
Next week we got Mercy on Damn You Hollywood, and then you and I are going to start a new. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this year. We're not going to. We're going to publish the songs after we're done making them one by one, as opposed to collecting them all for an album. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I made that decision without you. But
no, I think I remember you saying this.
Okay, so we're starting a new season of sessions where basically we're going to take old podcast reviews and turn them into songs. Starting with one of my favorite podcasts that I've ever done, Too Old to Die Young, which we're going to use Only the Good Die Young as inspiration. So are you excited to get to do a new season of sessions?
Very much so. Very much so. When is that happening?
That is a week from Wednesday.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Let me go ahead.
28th. Yeah, I had to move it off a Sunday because I'm being dragged to a concert. And then we're ending the month of January with a triple feature. We've already done one John Waters, Long Road to Ruin, the Trash Trilogy. We're going back to John Waters a second time. And we're going to look at Polyester, Hairspray, and Crybaby. Go ahead and do your plug, Jesse. I will be right back.
All right. Yeah, hey, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow on the Source Material Comics podcast, that's where me and Mark Radulich get together and we talk comics. And we have our discussion of Multiple Man happening. Oh, my goodness. Cannot remember the author, the writer on that comic book. I just know that we have discussed a comic book of his in the past. I think it's Multiple Man. It will all make sense in the end. And trust me, it's if you remember Joker puzzle box. Joker presents a puzzle box. If you remember us discussing that and how crazy and convoluted it got, still a good read. Well, now you've got Multiple Man and time travel, and it gets pretty crazy. So check that out. Previously, last week, I think it was Monday the 12th, me and Chris Armstrong got together. We talked The Darkness Batman. So 90s comics all the time over there on the Unspoken Issues podcast. Darkness Batman was an interesting read. So if you get a chance, check that out. And I think tomorrow and Tuesday, I'm going to be publishing myself and Evan Bevins getting together and talking Marvel Snap. We just had a couple. It's very late in the month. So we only did like 2 20-30-minute episodes on the previous season and what we ran into during the season. Didn't get into all of our standard stuff because we had the holidays and that kind of threw things off as far as the schedule goes. And hey, listen, I will be, like I said, I'll be on the Welcome to Derry podcast. It's going to be me. It's going to be Alexis Sana, and it's going to be Benjamin J. Colon. I don't know when the last time he did a podcast on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. But I can tell you that it'll be fun to finally get to talk to him. I haven't talked to him in a while. I think the last time we got together was when we discussed Last Ronin, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin. So, and Dean and Derry are coming back. We're going to be recording our G.I. Joe 108 through 115 on Wednesday. That's where the Joes, where the G.I. Joe, a Real American Hero comic book, took things into the Persian Gulf and, the Gulf War, during the Gulf War, or at least did a story that was similar to that, I should say. And some Joes end up losing their lives, including one of the originals. So if you want to tune in when that drops, check that out. So that is all I got.
Oh, I came back just in time.
You did.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here on Trial. Court is now in recess for the Honorable Jesse Starcher. I have to go back and use the bathroom. Be well, be safe, and behave.